Ziggy again, and this process we're just going to cover off is how to prepare for an event and sort of the planning phase for that. So Ziggy, if you want to just talk through there what you have.
Yeah, so generally 6 months out from the show date, we would book the space. Generally, we're booking air. There's no stand, there's no structure. It is literally just, you get charged per meter square. We will agree a budget at this time for how much we're going to spend generally in the overall show, but more specifically on the stand, an amount that we don't want to exceed for the stand build. And then we'll identify the SMART goals and objectives as per the last chat, and then who we're targeting and what the big idea, what the messaging and the positioning is for this specific event. So we'll try and have that loosely formed. And then 4 months before, we will identify the staff on stand, and then who also from the team is coming as visitors, because we need to book flight and accommodation for all of those people. And then we'll approach partners for money towards the stand if we can give them a corner of it, give them some space on the stand. So really we're paying for the stand, build the stand space and have everything else done. They just kind of turn up, but they give us an amount towards it, which for the past 2 years has been £10,000 from the same partner. So that was Sensata. And then we'll gather quotes from exhibition builders. Then 3 months before, we will elect the supplier that we're going to use to build the stand. We will finalize the design and we'll work more on that messaging and what the key campaign messages are. We will identify what channels that we're going to use. What are we going to do it all offline? Do we have any offline advertising in magazines or any trade magazines? Or are we going to focus on social media and just work on the overall event plan as well? So I can open some of these documents just to show you what they look like. So that's a rough event plan. Actually, I'm going to go into the second one. It's more detailed. I go into this and I will delete that one. And this just gives us really a starting point for what the theme and key messaging is going to be, what we need to order, and what deadlines we will have for those. The fact that we're going to have a pre-event email, pre-event write-up, what the social media plan will loosely look like. Are we going to have any promo and giveaways? What is the prize going to be for the giveaways? And other things like practical things like badges and lanyards, and then any PR that we have to have before the show begins. So that's a kind of step one rough event plan, and that gets built out as we get further down and closer towards the show. We'll also start the social media plan, and I can show you that. Looks like this. So it's timelines for that, what dates and what tasks, whether it's in progress or whether it's not been started yet or it's complete. And then we have more detail within the actual relating to the content, what the content is that we're actually going to share. So what we would want is, 3 weeks before the event starting, all of these to be populated and the messaging really clear and ready to go.
Sorry to interrupt, Ziggy. I just see LinkedIn there a lot. Is there a reason that we picked LinkedIn over other platforms, or how was that kind of discovered that would be the social media place that we use? Yeah,
there is a reason. There's actually quite a lot. Let me see if I can open this for you. Yeah, this is from last year's show, which is last year we kind of went over all platforms just to see really where our audience were. And what we found was that we were wasting our time really on Instagram and Twitter. And Facebook, really, I still think we'll duplicate the information on Twitter, but the main engagement is on LinkedIn, and there's the sheet that kind of shows you that broken down. So that's the kind of information that we will look at after the show, and then make decisions on future campaigns. Where do we need to be, putting our efforts instead of, spreading ourselves thin? Let's just really focus on one channel and do it well. So all this analysis is relating to last year's show and what the impressions and clicks and reactions were across. And it's there, you know, and the same thing will be duplicated again this year. Maybe not to that detail because we know more.
Yeah.
But generally the same info will be there. So
happy days, all good.
And the thing is that these planners that we're clicking into, these links, they'll all be saved in the We Are Cubo marketing drive.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
They're all in SharePoint. So the social media plan is started, and then what was this? I'm not sure if I've already clicked into this, but let me just double check. Yeah, and then that's the one that I've just shown you, the content plan. So we get a start on that then. 2 months to go, which is less than now for the CV show. We order promo, we order stationery and cards, business cards. We organise a video content that's going to be on the screens. And we send the artwork and messaging to the stand builders for them to give us previews of what that will look like. Those things are kind of more the builders, stand builders, exhibition builders really give us little snippets. I'm just going to show you an example because he sent me an email just earlier on there. Let me see, Niall, no, Mike. So this is an example, just for your information, the permission to build for the stand has been issued. The artwork is due in a couple of weeks. Is there a vision you'd like me to map out in the visual to see how everything, see how it looks and if there's anything I can assist with? So he will kind of keep in touch with us to say, you know, I can show you what this looks like, send over the artwork to me. So that's where we are with him at the minute. And then this is another example of what he'd sent then last time we were talking, Dan, which is the stand flattened out, and I need to give him the content for each of these boxes. And then we go down to 1 month ago, one month to go, sorry. And we're looking more at the stand etiquette, which is the same as last year. And then that was the one I talked you through, the PDF document. And then we have the inquiry forms. So I'll just click into that. I did send an email round to everybody actually last week with regards to these forms, just to check in with them and say, I'm going to be replicating these for this year's show. Is there anything that you feel was left out, didn't work, you know, in practice? Let me know, and you know, we can adjust or amend as we need to. But this is Robert's. Everyone will get a copy of these. So they put in the company name, the name of the contact, and then all their details. They opt in. And we just have 3 main areas. What challenges are they facing? Do they have any current tech? And what solution have you recommended for them today? And then agreed next steps. And that's as simple as that is. For the CV show down here, we had a little QR code, which allowed people to scan. And that brought us straight through to a landing page on our website and allowed them to enter the competition for like a night in the Merchant Hotel.
Very good. So would you print off copies for the people that are on the stand? Okay. Yeah,
I think I printed 40 for each last year. You
should print 100 for each, put the pressure on.
Exactly. Yeah, they'll get that this year. So with regards to that, and it kind of links back to those inquiry forms, then we need to look at what landing pages we need to have done on the website. So if we are doing a competition this year, which again still hasn't been okayed or not, we need to have people on stand linking into that page and actually putting in their details. So then we can market to them. So I'm going to see if I can log in here and show you what last year's one was. If I go to We Are Cubo, I think it was CV show. If this is right, I'll be delighted with myself. It's not like, oh no, it's not it. I just wanted to show you an example of what that landing page was, but basically we will go on and have that already sorted for when the people are scanning, then they land straight there. And obviously it's something that we can measure then. And if I even go back to that overview here, you can see, I think we done some information on who, here we go, the event QR leaderboard. So these are all the people that actually landed on the website from the event QR code. There were 77 people landed on the site, 74 were new users, and this was the breakdown by people on stand. So Doug got the most people to fill out the form while they were standing there. So it's really just another wee metric. And once the landing pages are done, then Niall and I'll focus on writing the press releases for the CV show website. They have their own PR area for exhibitors. So last year I done 2 releases and just sent them over to them to get them added to the website. Again, that depends on what our lead is, which we're not we haven't secured as such yet.
This year, Ziggy, would you be using that as a template? Would you send them through last year, or would you go for a completely new press release?
Oh, it would need to be a new press release because
Okay,
last year's one's old news. Last year is Cubo NIBC have rebranded and they're now Cubo.
Right. Whole different message.
So
okay.
And then there was another press release last year, believe it or not, Dan, about the CuboCam. And it was, we're going to be launching CuboCam, but here we are a year later and CuboCam still isn't ready, totally ready.
Not 100%, but just as you say, there's obviously one was done for CuboCam. I know a lot of what we've been doing in Systemology is around Fuel Smart, but with marketing, do you ever go in with the idea of we need to promote more Fuel Smart or we need to sell more CuboCams, or is it just a collective, we want to increase sales by a certain percentage then based across all products?
Right, that is the exact data. Sorry, I'm just moving this over while I have this conversation with you. That's the exact data I need. I need that. And I know Declan and Connor are working on that. So yeah. I know the overall goal is 25% growth year on year. So now I'm saying, okay, so let's take that step. Like, let's break that down. How do we get there? So what does that actually mean in terms of sales? How many sales do we need? Okay, so we need 250 deals with an average value of this amount. Where are they coming from? Lucy has, what's the breakdown of deals last year across the different regions? What's the breakdown of deals last year across the different solution portfolios? And that will show us where we think that money is going to come from. And that is then what we market towards trying to get.
100%, so but it's maybe just data that's not there at the moment, basically.
It's not there. It's coming because the accounts got new Sage and they had to backdate a whole lot of information, and there are bits and pieces of it there, but yeah, I just can't wait for the day that I can kind of go into this spreadsheet and pivot all sorts of information and just be able to focus on that,
100% makes sense.
Okay, so then sorry, go ahead.
One more question. It was one that we were talking about, we have staff and we have visitors. Do you ever take into consideration that maybe certain visitors maybe have certain product solutions, or would that be again part of the data that you'd like to build up to sort of base what you want to start targeting as such?
I mean, I think we all agree that most of the visitors there would at least have a basic tracking solution, or be aware of that at least. They're not at a commercial vehicle show with that technology having went past them. So generally we do try and have something on stand that is, I'm going to say gimmicky. Gimmicky is not the right word. It's more interactive, I guess. So if you think of the same machines example, that last year we had it on stand where people could actually sit on the chair holding what the driver, what gets put into the driver's seat basically and vibrates, and they're looking at the screen as it's driving down the road, and if they move their eyes to the right or the left, that vibrates so they can actually feel what that would be like for the driver in the cab. We do try and lead with something that is attention grabbing, because at the end of the day, my job is to get people on that stand. That's once they're on there, it's down to the VDMs and for us to support them with the messaging that's all around them. But something like that will grab attention. What we led with last year, and we will again this year because it really did go down well. We've seen people just stop and watching the video footage, the camera footage. And what we've done there, maybe which should kind of go into a process somewhere, is that I should have mentioned that maybe 1 month to go. That should probably go in here. Have we done that? I think it's maybe up here in 2 months, is it? It is organised video content for screens. So really what we do is collate all the videos that we've got from our customers, like incidents and accidents, and put that up on the big like LED screen that's above the reception area, and replicate it on the back as well. Our stand is open on all 4 sides, so people can come onto it from any angle. So trying to keep that in mind as well, that people know that yes, the basic, and I know Connor hates using that word for TrackSmart, I do as well, because it just sounds inferior. But the entry level, you know, telematics solution, I guess, is going to be tracking. Everybody knows what that does. To me, not everybody knows the level of integration that we can do across all of the solutions. So it's going to be, and going through my key messaging, the main piece for me is that there's going to be a product positioning of variety. You know, we offer variety. It's not just a one-stop shop. I know from looking at the CV show plan and the exhibition plan for the stands, there's someone behind us or in front of us, I can't remember which, who are doing like taco downloads, but that's all they do, you know, whereas we are giving you a one-stop shop almost. So those are going to be the leads, the fact that we can integrate and the fact that we're innovative, that we're constantly always pushing forward. So I guess there is an aspect there of the messaging not being really focused, because we don't want to lose people who might not be there just for that solution, but we want to have enough focused messages that something might resonate with regards to integration, reliability, variety. So yeah, that's that. And then I was going to put that in, but I already had it. And then the agenda for the day. There's one other thing actually, just talking about that. Let me see if I can show you the product positioning. This might be on my desktop. Oh, I did the wrong one. Okay, so this is really a sheet that I've developed, I suppose, to help Niall kind of, and myself, when we're teasing out the messaging for the stand. So really the overall company position, it's already defined in our intentions when we looked at the vivid vision stuff that Connor went through. So with regards to product positioning and how we can market those, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, say 7 different types I've kind of teased out here. So price based, we're never really focused on what our price is. We don't sell on price. I have done an exercise here for the guys to kind of consider, Declan, Connor and Craig, as to where do you think we are in this? Are we high value, or are we premium, or where do you think we sit? But with regards to the other aspects, like the quality and performance, here what we want to be doing is focusing on functionality and how well our solutions actually do perform, because you know, others are let down by solutions that constantly break. Niall and I I've just finished a case study there for Essex Bulk Services, and he was just absolutely fed up with the amount of camera footage he didn't get, with the fact that no one even cared he wasn't getting it, no one was getting back to him. And I just think that's something that would resonate with a lot of people. So we want to be looking at the position of quality and performance. And when I went through this with Connor, my thinking was, but this will not be ready for the CV show, but it might be ready, you know, for later marketing, is if we could get some kind of support statistics on, you know, how many, what the turnaround and close tickets are, or, you know, how much percentage of karma downloads we have, or something that reinforces our reliability. Yeah. If you can stick a stat to it, it's going to mean more. And then I was talking about the variety there. So just that we offer more than our competitors. I don't know if you remember this, Dan had done at the beginning, before we done the rebrand, I had sent out to 3,000 odd emails that we had and they came from Sage. So it was probably, a lot of them are going to maybe finance people, because our data and our emails for marketing just did not exist. And we asked the question, you know, one of the questions that we asked was, which of the products below do you know the Kubo supply? And we find that like people who had mobiles didn't even know that we'd done tracking, and people that had tracking didn't even know that we'd done 3CX, you know, so there was a real gap in the fact that people didn't know the full extent of what our solutions were. So what we wanted to do is maybe like reiterate that somehow, and the fact that, you know, we have more than one thing, but we're not at the same time not saying that we're all things to all people. Then the efficiency, product positioning, because this is all to do with the planning going into the CV show. These are all the things we have to consider. In the messaging, we're thinking, well, how does it make our customers' life more efficient? And thinking of ways that we can demonstrate that efficiency. So maybe have a video of someone downloading a specific report and how quickly it can be done, you know, just different ways of trying to ram that home. Reliability, so if we skip right down to the messaging, that, for example, we could be saying, trust us in 2001 to deliver innovative telematics solutions and industry-leading support to the logistics industry. So this is a little snippet that could be used on the CV show stand. So people, simply because people might not know Kubo still, you know, they might not have joined the dots, and they might think we're a new company. So something like that just underlines the fact that we've been around for a while. And then sustainability, we are at the minute, through these case studies as well, trying to get the REHA or the Irish FTA or the FTA, and even like an academic, Connor's dealing with Satish, I know, in Queen's, to independently verify the savings in fuel that we're showing from the Greener HGV programme, because we think it'll obviously give more clout. So if, again, that won't be ready for the CV show, but it's something that we can develop in our messaging going forward for maybe the following year. And
just a quick question. That's like, sorry to interrupt. Just on the sustainability, and I get it. Like the world is going that way, and businesses are headed that way too. To the customers, so to the HGV transport haulage companies, did they understand it, or is it like still a tick box exercise? We want to be seen to be green rather than.
I think it depends on the type of company that you're dealing with.
Right.
There are ones that will actually don't even care if they're green or not. You know, they really don't. There are others that are quite proactive, and possibly because of a business reason that they have to. And this is the case actually with Essex Bulk. They had to be able to measure their CO2 emissions before they were getting certain contracts.
There you go.
So again, there could be an underlying business reason for pushing that, but the point is that we're giving them that regardless of what their reason for wanting it is. So we were trying to develop or think a way around some kind of like, well, it's being green stamped, and it's something that they can also shout about, and it can, you know, show that they're what. And again, it's not down to us how serious they are about it, but they can measure it. So if they can measure it, then, you know, they're starting at the right place.
Yeah, brilliant. Really, really powerful stuff.
It is, it is. That is a powerful message. It definitely is. And it was a lead message generally in the whole show last year. A lot of the speakers were all going down that road too. And then usability. So looking at that as a way to position us. I think, and we've discussed this a few times, Connor and I, that, you know, obviously we do a lot of integration and our solutions are really bespoke, but sometimes that can translate as, this is too complicated. Oh, I don't know, this links with that. But what we're trying to get is ram the message home that it's easy to use. So I was looking for some kind of statistic, and I was hoping that I could have had this linked into, you know, when you log into My Kubo, Dan, some kind of question, I don't even know if it can happen, to say 95% of our users agree that My Kubo is simple to use. With one click, you have access to whatever. So that was the kind of messaging to to position us from a usability point of view. But again, I really think that these things need, you know, data behind them and not just us saying it.
Yeah.
It holds more weight if it's actually measured in some way from us. And let me see. So then we're down to the day of, and I'll open this document again. It's actually probably already opened. It's the team meeting with who's going to be where. So the stand etiquette that we went through just to show everybody where they're going to be, what the stand looks like. A lot of people haven't even seen the stand, you know, until they're on it. So this kind of gives them an idea of what it looks like, who's on what corner, and then all the different bits and pieces, useful information that they'll need for their time on the stand.
It is pretty self-explanatory, that one basically. Then
it is, yeah.
Kind of step by step.
It is. And then we have the exhibition metrics. So I think I'd opened that when I came across it earlier. Here we go. So yeah, there's a more detailed one probably if you're going to CV show leads. So on the at the CV show, whenever these inquiry forms are passed over, I would take maybe once every hour, I'll take 5 minutes and upload the information onto this. So it's telling me who the company is, what sector they're in, what BDM got the information, the email address of the customer, first and second name, address if it's there, I'd probably populate that, and if there's a phone number, and what the opportunity is. And then we need to assign that a quality rating. And I have kind of done this from here, but that has changed even since then. So it would be, it's closed, we've won it. It's a large order, they're ready to buy now. It's a smaller order, but they're not, and they're ready to buy, or it could be a larger one with a longer time frame. So this could be a small order with a longer time frame. They just want more information. These people weren't on to buy, they were on to try and sell something to us, and then we've lost it. So I've kind of set them out as ways for people to quality rate the lead, so then I can report at the end and say to Connor, Craig, Declan, okay, we had 10 A visitors, we had 20 B visitors, and that would be after 3 months.
It's very good. Yeah.
So it's just a way to try and be ahead of that this year.
Yeah.
So you can see I mean, this is last year's. Look at the gaps in this information. I've actually went in and looked at it myself and tried to pan it in, but at the end of the day, like I don't have the time to be trying to update that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what that document would look like, and a similar one for this year. And then I'm not quite sure what this one is. Let me have a wee look. Oh, that's the same thing. It's in twice for some reason. Just want to make sure I haven't missed out anything. Okay. And then the social reports actually, which I was coming to, that would be after. And again, that's a metric. It's marketing telling the board again what good has come from the social side of things as well. Obviously offline, we're on the stand, but online, what's the performance been like? And what learnings can we take from that? So that was the report that I quickly went through. I'll open it again. It's really, you know, what the summary is. Drop in Facebook from corporate campaigns is recommended. There can be good channels, more really for like well, CSR, but also just behind the scenes kind of stuff, you know. So these were learnings that imagery is hugely important. These are all things that Niall and I will keep in mind whenever we're developing our posts for this year. I think for example, I think one of the best performing posts from last year was just a random one that I took of Connor and Craig on the stand saying, these two boys are going to put a shift in today. And that was one of the best performing posts. None of the stuff that we've thought about for ages, about all the messaging and the
Yeah.
positioning. It was just, something that people, jumped on and had a laugh about, and that was it,
Yeah, it's
Um,
not an exact science, as they say.
It definitely isn't. It definitely isn't. So that's why I think it's good just to try off the cuff things like that as well.
Mhm.
So I think that's at the bottom. That's us at the bottom of the
Happy
agenda
days.
planning.
If you like there, Ziggy, I'll stop that recording there. But maybe we will push time just for the LinkedIn one, but we can do that maybe myself and you, Ziggy. I'm sure it wouldn't be that big a sort of process there offline, or we can do a separate recording for that. Just
Okay.
conscious it's close to about 2 there and feed time at the zoo and all that,
Yep.
Can I just ask one quick question? See the plan agenda for the day of the event, the follow-up process.
Yeah.
What did we do last year? So after we have that spreadsheet of, but we can see you now. Hi.
Oh.
Hello. So
What do I have there?
on that spreadsheet, what did we do with those names? Did we what was the follow-up, the after process?
Okay, so this is what Connor does want to change this year.
Right.
Everything went back to Connor. So Connor had access to this Excel spreadsheet, and because he has weekly meetings with each of the regional sales teams, he would check in and say, right, so what's happening with this, or where are we with this lead? I just don't think that was it wasn't very successful, because number one, I mean, he shouldn't really have to be doing that. It just should happen. There's a lead there, and really when you think about cost per lead for that show, it would be pretty high.
Yeah.
And I would love to be able to say to Connor this year, the cost per lead was this, but see, because that information is so patchy, I don't even have it. So I'm always aware of where I wanted to be in an ideal world, but at the same time, we have to appreciate we didn't even have a marketing department 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It just didn't exist. So, you have to
So
start.
how or what are you proposing this year? Are you still in conversation about it?
This year, I'm proposing the same document. I'll take the sheets, I'll fill it in. I'm going to read it on the stand from the conversation I have with the BDM to say, right, well, from what you told me, this is what I think. But then I'll have another column for them to read it after the conversation, after the sales process has moved a bit further along. Cut off for 3 months for reporting. And then Connor has his own plan. We haven't talked about it, but he was like, it's going to be different this year. I'm not going to be, chasing, what about this? What about this? So I don't know if he's really going to go to town on last year. We dipped our foot in. We got 2 or 3 sales. This year, it is going to be different. And this is how.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure what way he's going to approach it, but I do know there's not going to be as much leeway as there was last time.
Understood. Okay. No, that's fine. Well, that's maybe a process we can capture on down the track whenever that process is defined and what we do in the follow-up. Okay. That's great. Thank you.
No problem.
Sorry, Dan, over to you. I interrupted there.
No, you're grand, as you say, just checking if there's anything else there, Ziggy, or anything you further you would add to it. If not, we can stop the recording there. All good.
No, I think that's it. Yeah. Not much.
Nice one. 100%. I'll stop the recording there now.